I'm waiting for the rest of the members to get connected. I think I'm observing 4 members are connected now. Good morning to one and all connected, and forward this link to different groups so that people can get connected and then can get the class. Class 8 students Java beginning class will start today. This is the first class. I am observing here that Alpana madam is not retrieving the message. So, if any teacher is getting the message and knowing the ID of other groups, please forward this link so that maximum students can get connected. If you have done, please confirm me in return in WhatsApp message, or you may call to Alpana madam for the retrieval of this message so that she can forward in all the groups. I assume that the audio video quality is appropriate, because at my side the speed of the net is uh, sufficient, so it is going properly, and at your side, if the speed of the net is appropriate, there is no flicker and audio video will go properly. Ms. Alpana, I am live. You can click on that link, you will find me. The class time was earlier given from 9 to 9:45. But since this was announced today, I did not make any change. But I am requesting to find some other slot other than 11 to 12, because at that time there is the class of 12th. So for other days like on Friday and coming Tuesday, if there will be a class, then it is good to set either at 8 in the morning or after 12. That can be done, and this is my recommendation. There is one more thing that as this link is being created and I'm taking the class schedule, I'm going through the class schedule. But now this is not only live, but this will be recorded as well in the YouTube channel. So later on also students can refer this link and can get the retrieval of this particular class. I think I'm observing only 7 people are connected. 7 and 8 people are seen. So now I'm starting the conduct. Dear class 8 students, right now you have completely new thing for you to study, and that is Java programming. And throughout the year, you have to study this Java programming. In all the previous classes, you have studied programming lessons also, and some applications also, like in the previous class, class 7, you have studied about the animation making software, this one Tupi, and uh, office softwares, Impress, and so many other things you studied. But this year is specific to Java programming. So, as you have studied in the previous class about basic 256 programming, in the same way, the programming environment is different, but again, you have ultimately to develop in yourself the problem solving attitude. This is the main aim of the study of computer programming. Though I'm not teaching regularly in your class, but in the lockdown period, I'm giving this conduct for you all so that you can utilize your time and you can get the idea about it. See, computer programming is not bound in the boundary of class, that in the class of 45 minutes or 40 minutes the teacher discusses and you remember the question answers and you write in the examination. But computer programming is a continuous thinking process. It is the outcome of your thinking ability, your problem solving ability, that when certain problem is given to you, then what approach and what minimum and specific and uh, concise and accurate way you can find what method you can develop for solving a problem. This is, in fact, the actual programming approach, the problem solving attitude. Mathematics is also like this. You get a question, and all the previous experiences you use to find the way, to find the method of solving a particular question and to reach up to the result. Now, mathematics maybe at present you are finding easy by the description of the book, like this type of question is there, then it will be solved in this way. This type of question is there, it will be solved like completely. We go in type oriented process. So solving a problem under certain type is not the intelligence. The actual intelligence is you, whatever the experiences you have got earlier, on the basis of those experiences, what exact way, what exact method, what exact technique you can select, what exact technique you can select to get that particular problem solved. In the previous classes, like in class 6 and class 7, it was discussed about the algorithm and flowchart. Algorithm is nothing but the systematic way of solving a problem. When a problem is given, when a problem is in your hand, then what steps you will take sequentially to reach the final destination, to get the final result. Like you can take some example, like let us say the teacher, or you are getting the method of solving even two numbers. Then certainly the first step will be ask for numbers. Second step will be there, count according to the numbers asked. And third step is to tell whatever the result of count you have got. So this is a sequential process, and each and every step is necessary. Nothing you can miss. Suppose in the earlier classes also it is told, suppose you are getting someone is teaching you how to prepare tea, and there is a process that take water, put it in the pan, and light up the gas stove, and then put pan with water on that, got the water heated, then mix the ingredients and boil, and then filter, and then serve it to drink. So there is a sequential process of doing that. Nothing you can miss and nothing you can change the sequence. It is not so that you will boil everything and then you will filter and then you will mix tea and sugar and then you will give someone to drink. That cannot be done. So for doing each and every work, there is a method. Let me keep on writing this also. Computer programming and Java introduction is the topic being introduced today. So first of all, I'm talking about method. This method has a different meaning in Java. So from for day-to-day life, whatever this word is used, I'm taking the meaning of this. Particularly in Java, this method is a technical word and it has a specific meaning. It is the stepwise sequence of the smaller steps or tasks. Wait. Required to be executed in order to perform a particular task. This is also called algorithm. See, these things you have studied in the previous class also. But before I start something in Java programming, let us recall all those things, because keeping these things in mind, you can work properly in Java programming, or in fact, you can know the reason that what in fact you are doing in Java programming. Because whatever you are doing, you must have the proper reason why you are doing. Then you will find your effort and your mindset properly to work with them. Otherwise, ye kar rahe hain, kya zarurat hai, ऐसे no. When you are working, you should work with full concentration of mind. That is why these things I'm telling in the beginning, so that you can reason out why you are learning Java. So the method is called algorithm. You know, when you talk about a particular work, then it will be a combination of smaller works. Like, let us say I'm telling, I gave right now the example of preparing tea, let us say. Then if preparing tea is a work, if preparing tea is a work, that needs some other smaller works to be done. And when all the smaller works are done together in combined form, then the work of preparation of the tea is done. For example, preparing tea is a work, can be performed. One work is take the pan. It is also a work. Take water and add it. It is also a work. Take open or burn the burn the gas stove. This is also a work. Taking the lighter, burning the gas stove, then putting the pan on the gas, that also needs effort, that also needs force, that also needs a mindset to work with. So they are smaller works. You can think of any, just to think silently and think on this part. Okay, whatever the work you have to do, that is a combination of smaller works. So this all is a hierarchy. Arranging a party is a work, then that needs so many works to be done. Preparing the invitation card, sending the invitation card, then bringing the crockery and arranging the place for the party, then doing food preparations. For food preparations also bringing the materials from the market. So all are ultimately a work is a combination of smaller and smaller and smaller works. Like the objects in your day-to-day life, okay, whatever is there around you is the set of smaller objects. A house, let us say in this room I am sitting, this house is a combination of walls and windows and this almirah and the projector and the computer and all those things is making a room. Let us say this room, the walls is a combination of bricks and cement and water, and everything is added to make this wall. Let us consider this brick is made up of soil, and then soil is having some minerals and other materials of the earth. eh. And finally, what about the media? Then they are the combination of elements. What is element? Then element is a combination of atoms. What is atom? Then atom is a combination of electron, proton and neutron, up to this. Because there is not something beyond electron, proton and neutron. So there is a complete hierarchy, smaller to bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So any object, suppose the pen is there in my hand, then this pen is having the electronic circuitry, the battery and the body. Battery is having the carbon rod and then magnesium and zinc around it, and then finally then zinc is again an atom, again a molecules of atom is of electron, proton and neutron. The body is that some plastic material is there, plastic is again made up of some compounds are made up of some elements, and elements are combination of finally the atoms are the composition of electron, proton and neutron. So there is a complete hierarchy of objects around us. In the same way about the work also, smaller work, smaller work, smaller work, smaller work, from top to bottom you rise and finally a work is done. So whatever the work around you you are thinking, when you will think, it is the combination of smaller works, and that develops a method, that develops a process. So when you write about process, you write about the stepwise sequence of smaller works whose composition can able to perform your given task. Now there is another representation of this, because this method or this thing you are not writing for yourself. When you are composing a method, the method is not composed for you. The method is already there in your mind, so why to write? Method is always composed for others. So it must be precise, it must be easy understandable. So ultimately, depending on your language, there are some standard way of representing the method. Among all the standard ways, there is one way about the flowchart. Flowchart is a precise, concise, diagrammatic way of representing a method. I am not going the examples and details of the flowchart, because in the previous class you have already studied about it. but I'm recalling that it is the diagrammatic representation of the method. So let us write about this also. Flowchart. Flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of a method. Again, I am using the word method, but I say at the same time this method is not related to the method in Java. Flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of a method for performing a specific task. So diagram is ultimate. We have different types of boxes like oval shaped box and the parallelogram box and the rectangle and circles and diamond shaped box. In the previous class you have used all those things. So with the help of those boxes, you write the method in a proper sequence for the sake of making it more clear and easy understanding. Seeing diagram is or understanding that thing by the diagram is somehow easier than reading the contents. It is a common concept that instead of reading the concept, if someone shows it in the diagram, it becomes more clear and understandable for you. So a flowchart is here. Flowchart is also the representation of the process of doing a work. Now, one thing is explained and told from very beginning, that computer is a machine that works like our brain. Our brain is working on the process of learning and implementing. I gave you earlier, or I generally give this example, for whom you are developing the algorithm. For animals, for cow and dog, no. Methods are developed for other human beings. Mathematics you are studying, for what you are studying? Either you will implement it in your process or you will teach someone. You will tell someone that yes, this work is done in this way. Why writer has written the book? For himself? No. To make it understandable for other human being, not for dolphins and not for whales and not for bats. Nowadays, very much popular. So it is for human being, for human brain, in fact, also for human brain. One who is mad, the book is not written for him. He cannot understand mathematics. So methods are developed for a well working human brain. Oh, my spotlight is down. So there will be difficulty only in seeing the computer screen, but don't worry. This page later on will be available. So you can see that it will take time in getting that spotlight well arranged. So leave it. Yes. So method is developed for the human brain, and you studied earlier, you are knowing from very beginning that uh, computer is a machine that works like human brain. So methods developed for human brain can be applicable on the computer. This is an assumption. This can be a fact. As it is working like human brain, it should work like human brain. What is the problem? Why then it is made? So ultimately the method is applicable to the mechanical model or the electronic model, the machine model of the human brain. But in what way? We can say, in what way I impart, I transfer the method in others' human brain. Is it a wire connection from your brain to another's brain? Certainly not. There is not so that one wire you will put in your ear and you will put in others' ear, and then all the things are transferred from your brain to others' brain. Not possible. This is only and only language, the symbolic way of interpretation. With the help of language, you can transfer your feeling to others' human brain. You can set up your part in your companions with the help of language only. Maybe it is your body language, maybe it is your facial expression, but there should be some so-called language that makes others to get what you want to express. So, as a computer is a model of human brain, it should also have a language. It should also have a language. Method will remain same, but the way of interpretation may be different. Like, you can understand, like suppose there is a process of solving a particular mathematical problem is given, that can be written in the same way in Hindi language also. If the person is understanding Hindi, if he is able to understand English, then in English also the steps will be same, only the symbols and words will be different. In Malayalam, suppose it is written, the words and everything will be different, the grammar will be different. In Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, French, Spanish, wherever it will be written, the method, the process, the steps will be same. There is no change. Even a single bit of change will not be made in the method. The only change is done in the vocabulary, in the language, in the words, and in the grammar in which those figures are arranged, established to interpret the things. So computer is an electronic model and it is our creation. So certainly we have our own set of, there should have own set of languages for the computers. So whatever the method is developed must be converted to the computer's language, the language that particular machine can understand. You will ultimately that machine is in front of you to learn your method. Certainly whatever the language in which the interpretations can be made for that machine, that can be done. So whatever the language is specified for the electronic model, the method has to be converted into that particular language, then only that machine can work. So let us consider this hierarchy. One more thing I wrote here, one more thing I told that has to keep in mind, that a task, any task, this is a key point to remember, any task is the ultimate composition of the smaller tasks. Similar, like an object, similar like any object is composed of smaller objects. Now, you know, something about computer I want to recall, just to make you understand and make you aware, though you have studied these things earlier also, but I want to recall so that keep yourself aware, you can reason out that why you are learning computer programming. In the first phase, it is necessary to justify the reason for which you are learning this. So something about computer is also necessary to keep in mind and to recall, in fact, to be there in your mind so that you can reason out why you are doing these things. You know, we generally in our day-to-day practice, we, or it is generally told that computer is a digital machine. What is this digital? So somewhere you may feel difficulty in answering this. In very few words, I want to explain that first thing to keep in mind, that let me write by some other color. I think it will take around 1 or 1.5 minutes. I'm getting off the screen so that I can set the spotlight properly, and then you can see the board also properly. Just give me 1 minute time. Yes. So I was writing by some other color. Digital machines are those which are ultimately, it may be something else also can be, but ultimately composed of switches, even microscopic. These switches are electronic, not mechanical. You see, electronic switch is in your day-to-day life also, like your auto cut stabilizer, maybe at your home, getting off when voltage increases. The remote control in your hand, the TV is set on and off. The power is set to appear and cut from a distance place by sending, infrared light. The switch is controlled by light. The switch is controlled by sound. The switch is controlled by voltage. These all are electronic switches. And so one thing is that these are the see isme you cannot ask for the proof, you have to keep certain things in your mind. So this thing to keep in mind, that billions trillions of switches are there in the design of computer system, though they are microscopic. like coronavirus. They cannot be seen, but they apply effect. So this fact is there to keep in mind always, that a computer system is composed of microscopic switches, and each and every switch is controllable. If trillion of switches are there, then all 1 trillion or 2 trillion switches are individually controlled. Then only the system is functional. Now, last year you studied about binary numbers. Okay, bhai, the combination of 0 and 1 can represent a number. Why we learn binary number? You know, with the help of binary sequence, you can represent two states, on and off. 1 writes for on, 0 writes off. So if you are certain, let us see, suppose you are writing 1011. This is, of course, it is representing a binary number, 8 and 3, 11. Now, if you have a combination of 4 switches, first switch is set on, second is set off, and third and fourth are set on. Then you can say switches are on, then on, off, and then off. Then even by seeing that panel of switches, you can tell that I have a switchboard that can remember a number. Whenever you will see that switch, the number 11 is there in that, because it is set on and off in that way. So, up to the experience which you have about binary numbers, you can tell the panel of switches to remember a number. You have the mobile's remote control. There is a IR light on it, though the light is not seen on that. But take that mobile remote control and put it on your mobile camera. Then in camera display of your mobile, you can see the light glowing in your TV's remote control. You will see the flash of that light when you face the mobile remote control towards the mobile camera. Then mobile camera is able to see the infrared light. Now press forward the remote control towards the mobile camera and press some buttons and see its display. You will surprised to observe then that in each press of the remote controls button, there is a different pattern of LED flashing. Different pattern of LED flashing is there. Suppose you are pressing, let us say, channel change, channel forward. Then LED flashes in a specific sequence, but when you are pressing the volume increase button, the pattern of flashing the LED light will be different certainly. That flashing pattern is when sensed by your TV sensor that drives the particular function. When you press change channel, then a channel is changed there on the TV. When you press the button of volume increase, volume increases on the TV. But internally, As the light is flashing in a specific pattern, flashing pattern can be written as the sequence of 0, 1. This can be the pattern of flashing. 1 is written when the LED glows. 0 is written when LED is not glowing. So suppose you are putting on, putting off switches, then first switch is on, then off, then on is kept for 2 intervals, then off, then kept on, then like that the pattern of on and off can be set, and that set of on and off can make that LED to glow in the specific sequence, and that glow is sensed when by the TV sensor the particular pattern is sensed in its electronic circuitry, and it drives the function of changing the channel or increasing the volume. This represents a particular number, and this number is driving a function. So can you not tell this switching pattern is, first thing is that this switching pattern is able to control the TV, and in the language of beauty, you can tell that, do you know, my TV is able to understand a language, binary language. This is only the beauty of the language, the beauty of the interpretation. Arey bhai, TV is a panel of switches are there, switching circuitry is there. It will certainly be set on and off to drive the function. So this is only the beauty of the interpretation. We tell that, yes, I have a machine that can understand a language, binary language. Here also, computer is a digital machine. Computer is a digital machine composed of switches and can be controlled by binary patterns. So this binary pattern is called, in a beautiful language, to maintain the sake of beauty of interpretation, we tell that computer understands a language called machine language. So let me write this. Functions on such machines are driven using different switching patterns. Example I gave: IR flash, observed through mobile remote mobile camera of a remote controller. This switching pattern is called machine language. That's it today. Rest of the things next day I will discuss. But one thing I want to make clear, that whatever the lockdown period is there, I will continue the classes in on Tuesday and Friday. But maybe the time will be different, and this class can be retrieved later on also with the help of same link. Once I have delivered my class, it will be recorded on YouTube channel, and later on also it can be referred. Also, the page that I have written, I will save it there also, so that you can download this page also. And for NetBeans, particularly, this book is made up with respect to NetBeans, so don't worry about that. I will tell you the links. I will that is easy to be configured in your computers, so you people can configure, download and configure in your computers. But one thing is to assure that on the respective days the work should be done on the regular basis, or you should have the proper attention in getting the things learned. Most probably the Friday class will be either at 10 or after 12, or maybe at 8. Miss Alpana will decide and tell. And on other days also the same time will be fixed, since it was announced earlier from 9. I was bound to sit here at 9, but later on this time I will change. So thank you everyone. I think you have got the initial things, and it will be continued later on in the same way. Thank you once again.